Hello friends, my name is Bahroz and welcome to the channel where I share with you tips, tricks that I read, apply and learn in order to become the best version of myself. Now in this video, I will talk about what are the questions that you should ask as part of the reverse interview questions. What I mean by reverse interview questions are those questions which you as a candidate get to ask from the interviewer. Usually this slot falls at the end of the interview, where the interviewer, after asking all the questions that they needed to ask from you, offer you almost like 5 to 10 minutes for you to go ahead and ask any questions that you have from them. Usually this part of the interview is not graded, or to say the least, the interviewer has closed his interview. He has asked all the questions he or she wanted to ask, and now they've stopped grading you and they don't expect anything more to come from you. And hence they don't expect to take any further notes. Rather, so much so that if you would notice, the interviewer would stop typing or stop writing any further when they ask you and open this slot for you to ask questions. However, it is still very important to be prepared for this slot. One, because there is 5 to 10 minutes which is dedicated to this part of the interview. So you better be prepared with something intelligent to fill it up. Secondly, it can be a chance to pleasantly surprise the interviewer when he or she least expects. Or let's say their expectations are low, which means that it should not take a lot from you in order to impress them or positively surprise them. So we have already talked about the importance of this part of the interview. Now let's quickly jump into talking about what are the types of questions that you should be asking. There are literally two types of questions that can be asked as part of the reverse interview questions. I will cover these types in two separate videos. I will cover the type 1 in this video and make a separate video to cover the type 2. Hence leaving the link to the second video here above. Now talking about the type 1 reverse interview questions. Under the type 1, you ask questions which are strategically designed in order to prove the point as to why you are the best candidate. Which is even after the interviewer has asked all their questions and interview is kind of closed, you are still using those 5 to 10 minutes to make a case as to why you are still the best hire. These type of questions are not driven out of curiosity. Rather, purely one's intent is that anything that was not addressed or covered in the main interview doesn't get left. Rather, it is covered now in the end, and make sure that everything that needed to be said, everything that needed to be covered gets covered. And hence you make use of these 5-10 minutes to make that point or that case strategically. It is these type of questions that we will cover in this video. Second type of questions are questions which are more to understand the role, the company itself or the culture. This is primarily when you're not too eager to change your role or your job and want to be super sure that you're getting into the right organization, into the right culture, into the right role. This type I will cover in a separate video for which I will leave the link above. Now coming to the first type, here you can go two routes and it depends on how well you delivered the interview. If you feel that the interview was short and you had more good stuff to share, or you're still not sure as to what interviewer was looking for, or even if you knew exactly what he or she was looking for, however you're not sure if they are fully convinced whether you're the right candidate or not, then you go ahead and inquire on their expectations from this role or from the candidate that they want to hire. For this, you can use the following question, either as is or in a similar format. For instance, what is that you are looking to step change in this role? Here you are inquiring as to what is interviewers' expectation with regards to strengths or key attributes that they are exploring in that particular candidate. Based on whatever answer you'll receive, you now need to assess whether you already got a chance to elaborate on that particular point or not, or if you were able to call it out as one of your strengths as well. If not, then after hearing the response, you need to go and make the claim that you also possess that particular attribute, that particular strength, along with a supportive example which will assure the interviewer that you do possess that strength and you've exemplified it in past. For instance, the interviewer may reply that we need someone who can work on simplifying our tools and current processes. In this case, you can respond by saying something like, I fully understand the importance of simplification in workplace and especially with regards to this role. And I want to assure you that in my past experience, I've ran exercises, I've led projects with regards to extensive simplification, and then give details of that particular instance or situation and what actions you took in order to drive the simplification and hence what were the results. This way you will be able to reassure the interviewer that you are the right person for the role. being able to deliver the key changes and expectations that are exactly required by the interviewer for this role. There are other forms of the same question. Can be as direct as what are your key expectations from this role or from this candidate. Here essentially what you want is the interviewer to list down all the key attributes that they are looking in the candidate. And in case you find there is an attribute that you missed talking about in the interview, then you can pinpoint on that and then give an explanation on how you own that strength, and then give an example from your past life or your experience as to how you've exemplified it. Now, another route of questioning that you can take is when you are super sure that you've covered almost everything that you had to tell about yourself in the interview. However, you're still not sure if the interviewer is fully convinced that you are the right candidate. And hence you want to make sure that you watertight the interview, that no stone is left unturned. And hence here you can directly ask the interviewer, please let me know if I have covered everything that you were looking for, or if there is anything that you want to delve deeper or inquire more about me or my experience. I would like to make use of this time to answer any unanswered concerns that you may still have. Now, most probably, if the interviewer is honest, they will let you know that, yeah, there were a few things that they wanted to explore more, and hence you can deep dive into those areas and explain more about how you own the strength and how you've exemplified in your past experience. In case the interviewer says, no, all was good, no red flags, that means it's a good sign, and hence then you can move on to ask normal or other questions that you want to ask with regards to your inquiry of the job, the culture, for which I will make a separate video and leave the link of that video in the description box. Now, in case you're convinced that you've delivered almost everything that you had to say and the interviewer looks very much convinced, however, you still want to leave the interview with the best impression in terms of how ambitious and hardworking you are, then you may go on and ask something around the following lines in order to leave that particular impression that you're really hardworking, that you're ambitious, and you'll do utmost best that you can do on this job, and you're really hungry for this job or this role. Here you want to ask something around development and growth, because you want to leave an impression that you are not just joining this particular organization for this particular role. However, you are here to grow, and growth means that you will be putting your hard work, you will be all ambitious and have the right attitude, and hence you are asking about growth opportunities in the company. And hence a question may sound like, what are the growth opportunities for the individual who would be hired in this role? What are the next steps? Whereby you're kind of implying that yes, you will join on this role, you'll do your utmost best, but you'll do your utmost best to go to a step further, to a step higher. And hence you want to know what that step looks like, how that growth will happen. Here you should expect the interviewer to give some examples of how different people who have joined in this role have grown and either moved into a different department or have grown within the same department. Also, they will talk about what it takes to grow in this role. And once they talk about that particular characteristics and personality or the attitude that is required in order to grow in this role, again, you can do the same thing as I suggested in the question 1, which is you can assure the interviewer that this is something you also possess, and also give an example from your history as to how you've demonstrated this in your past experience, and give an idea to the interviewer that you are ready to do this again once you join this role. Because imagine if I'm the interviewer, I want to hire someone who's hungry, who's positive, who wants to do their utmost best because they are here to grow, and not seeing this organization or role just as a stepping stone or just as another job. Rather, they are looking towards the next role, and hence they will do their utmost best and they will give their all hard work that they can in order to succeed and move there, and that would be beneficial for me as the hiring manager. Another way of asking the same question could be asking about training and development. So what are the training and development opportunities, which is again kind of going on the same path. You're not particularly asking about growth per se, which is a promotion to the next level. However, you still want to understand how you will get developed in this role, which again kind of goes to show your attitude towards development and growing and learning. So again, the idea of asking these questions is not to get an answer. Rather, it is to set an impression to the interviewer that you are here to learn, to develop, to train yourself and grow. Thank you, and hopefully this video was helpful for you to now understand and be prepared for the reverse interview questions. Thank you.